Welcome, everyone. I'm glad to see you all here on a Wednesday night at 5 p.m. in Avedisian Hall. We have a couple people online as well. So this is our PharmD MBA information night, and we also have a panel of pharmacists or soon-to-be pharmacists, practitioners who are enrolled or have completed the program. I'm going to hand it over to the College of Business. We've got Lisa Lancellotta, who for many years, she started as the coordinator from the MBA program and now has moved into a bigger position. What's your official position now?
So my position now is Associate Director of Professional and Executive Business Education. It's really just a long word to say I'm in charge of all of the graduate programs in the College of Business. But my heart is in this program because I've been doing it since the start. Yeah. And along with Heidi Bucci, who has taken over my role as coordinator, as well as academic advisor. So if you do join the program, you'd be working with Heidi one-on-one to really format your schedule and kind of work through the time that you're in the program. So first, I want to thank you all for coming. We really appreciate your interest in the program. So today's session is obviously talking about the PharmD MBA program. We'll talk about why some people are doing the program. We'll talk about the options. We'll talk about the curriculum, the admissions, and Q&A. Of course, Q&A, you don't have to wait till the end. If you want to ask questions along the way, please feel free. We'll take breaks and see if anyone has questions at certain points in time. So some introductions. Kelly had already introduced myself and Heidi. You probably all know Dr. Kelly Orr. She is also in the MBA program. So she is going to be able to answer questions as well outside of this session today. So she can give you a firsthand look. Dr. Erica Estes could not join us. I believe she's in Korea with URI, doing some URI engagement. And then we have a panel. As Dr. Orr mentioned, we have a panel of both alumni as well as current students in the program. So I am going to let everybody introduce themselves. I think, Brian, you have the cue first, so you get to start.
Sure. I'll start. Brian Musiak, 2000 graduate of URI, College of Pharmacy. I was a 2010 grad of the evening program at URI, so I took a few years off, a little bit different maybe than this approach here, but I found it very valuable. I think we'll probably do Q&A after. Maybe so, I'll tell my story a little bit more after. But good to see everyone here tonight, and happy to see the interest in the program.
Thank you. So my name is David Fedorchik, and I'm a P4 pharmacy student, and I enrolled in the MBA program on my P3 year. And I've been able to finish all of the classes before my rotation started, which was a huge bonus in getting that and learning all of it before starting rotations. I then plan to pursue medical affairs in the pharmaceutical industry, so I'm hoping to leverage my MBA and all the skills that I've learned in that sense. And I've started to show interviewers as well, like how all the stuff that I learned is very applicable to the job roles that I'm applying for.
Hello, my name is Sydney. I'm a P3 in the PharmD MBA program. I applied in the spring and then I started classes this summer. So I'm looking to do an industry appy next year, but I'm not really sure where I want to take the MBA yet.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alicia Ademi. I'm a 2022 graduate from the URI PharmD and MBA dual degree program. So currently, I'm a medical science liaison at Novo Nordisk. And then after graduation, I did do a fellowship.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And we'll definitely be asking the panelists questions along the way, because I think it's important to hear from them just as much as to hear from us about the program itself. So why the PharmD MBA? Everyone's decision is different, right? So you're thinking about it now, whether you're just a freshman or coming into your P2 year, something to think about early on so that you can see what's the intersection between the MBA and the PharmD degree. Really what the MBA is doing is broadening your skill set, okay? Making yourself more marketable in the workplace, just getting a better understanding of the management skills. Because even if you're working in a pharmacy department, there's going to be a time, just like Brian, where you manage people, right? So giving you that knowledge, giving you the financial and accounting knowledge, right? If you're project management and you're dealing with projects, you have a lot of funding, to deal with. And how do you come up with that? Okay. So as of 2025, we have 25 students currently in the program, different phases, right? And we have 87 alumni. So we have a nice solid base in the program. Again, really looking at broadening your options as far as what to do with the degree once you're done. Now, you might not be sure what you want to do yet. You heard from Sydney, not 100% sure, and that's okay. You're getting time to really look to see what are the options. Giving yourself more time and knowledge is just going to help you when you're looking at that career choice. This is just a small example of what do people do with the PharmD MBA. I'm not going to read it for you. You can look at the screen and read it for yourself. But you see, there really is a vast variety of options when you leave the program. Again, it really just has to do with your interests. Where do you see yourself when you leave the program? Is it pharmaceutical sales? Is it working, as a pharmacist, et cetera? Moving into fellowships, et cetera. So there's a lot of different options. So the first question to the panel, as you see, why did you choose to do the program at that point in time? And David, since you have the cube, you get to know.
So I chose the MBA program to stand out as a candidate when going into these fellowship interviews, because I wanted to show them that I have more knowledge that extends past just my pharmacy degree. Especially looking into the pharmaceutical industry, they're looking for people that understand how the business works on all facets. And I feel like I've applied a lot of the stuff that I've learned so far into that. So, for example, we learned in our supply chain management class, we learned about identifying bottlenecks. And you might think that might not really apply directly to what we're doing as on the medical affairs team, but I kind of reword that to say that I'm focusing on workflows and helping us be more productive, I guess, in what we do. So I feel like that helps me stand out as a candidate as compared to other people that just have a pharmacy degree.
So I decided to do this last year because I came to this information session. I think it was really interesting to see how people were using it in the MBA in so many different ways for leadership positions. And it's so interesting to meet so many different people in so many different stages of life and learn from them and their experiences, and then also reflect on, again, like David said, how this integrates itself into pharmacy. Even if you're working at a community pharmacy, you can see how shortages affect customers, patients, everybody on a day-to-day basis.
Similar to David, I chose to do the program before I finished because I was interested in going to the pharmaceutical industry, specifically doing a fellowship. So definitely wanted to set myself apart from other PharmD graduates. And I do think that it helps in that sense. And I think even now in my current role, having that business background really allows me to kind of tackle the job a little bit differently with that strategic mindset and a lot of the skills that I've learned through that program. So I'm very happy I did it when I did.
Okay, so I was a little bit different. I forgot to mention my title. I'm VP of Pharmacy at Care New England. So I oversee 3 hospital pharmacies, 3 infusion centers, a drug budget of about $100 million, and 2 specialty pharmacies. So when I decided to do the program, I graduated. I was working staff jobs for a few years, and I was just kind of looking for something else, something a little bit more. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do with it. But I was just looking for something that could, again, set me apart, maybe learn something. It was a little bit harder to do it. I waited a few years, but had a family by then, and it was just a little bit more complicated. So I did the night program, but I found it really helped me. I can't remember a single, like a calculation or something, like some specific math tactic or statistical thing that I learned that, some calculation or accounting skill, but it just taught me to think a little bit differently. So I can look at like problems, whether it was managing people, relationships, strategic thinking. It just helped me think a little bit differently. And I think it definitely sets the MBA graduates, for those at least that aspire to leadership or some job other than pure staffing. I think it's a really good thing. And it was very, very helpful for me. It took me about 4 years to do the program, but I went from a staff pharmacist, and then in my last semester, before I graduated, I got a job as director of pharmacy. So it was really, really impactful for me. And Probably the single best thing I ever did in my career, other than start pharmacy school, but very impactful.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And next, Heidi's going to talk a little bit more details about the program itself and the structure and what your options are.
Okay, as Lisa said, my name is Heidi Bucci, and I am the new coordinator at the College of Business for the Professional and Executive Business Education. So the URI MBA options that we offer are flexible MBA, and those are evening classes that are offered in the Rhinebeck, the Providence location that we have, or online. And they can be completed while you can complete them while on the PharmD, and most students choose this option. But you can start with the MBA in the evening if you are done and completed your program. That's the 1-year MBA. But you can do the flexible one when you're in the P2 PharmD year. The 1-year MBA are day classes that are offered here at the campus, at the Kingston campus. And we do have other sections of the MBA, which are the blue MBA. We have the engineering and industrial and systems engineering MBA. And we do have a special program that is offered for some companies like Pfizer. And those are satellite, we offer them, we go to the company and we offer them. The flexible MBA curriculum is, as you can see, thank you. As you can see, you have 8 courses that you can complete. But if you have taken 2 years at the undergrad, the 2 courses at the undergrad, not 2 years, more years for you. 2 courses at the undergrad for economics or for statistics, we waive those for you, so you don't have to take them again. But you can take electives of your choice, or you can bring your 12 credits from your PharmD program as electives. The total electives are 18 credits. And the schedule that you see, those required courses, the 24 credits, those are part of the program. So those are set. We don't, they're not changeable. So the flexibility within is on the electives. There's course waivers that we can, as I mentioned, for the statistics. So if you took 2 courses at the undergrad, and this is the whole list of courses. So if you see on your transcripts that you've taken them, we will waive them for you automatically. You don't have to do anything. So when we look at your transcripts, we waive them, and we will let you know that we waived of those.
They all take 201. Helpful.
Okay, great.
201. So you all have 201 as part of your prerequisites. So you just need another economics course. So you can take 202, and those can be sort of stacked to equal 590.
Yep. So 2 undergrad courses equal 1 graduate course. So for economics, they have to be 2 for economics and then 2 for stats. Just that.
And the same thing with stats. You probably have 308 or 307. So we can take another stats course instead of that.
Yeah,
And-
I will say
and there's-
sometimes, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I will say sometimes you have open credits and electives, and that's where sometimes the students will jump ahead and take a second economics or a second statistics. I guess, David, did you waive out of those?
I
Or
did waive out of both of them, sorry. So yeah, I took the waiver because there was a waiver exam for the statistics one, so I was able to complete that. And then I had economic credits as well. So before, so I only had to do the 8 classes total.
And Sydney, did you?
Yeah, I also lived out of them, so I had the prerequisites like Dr. Orr was saying, and then I decided to get ahead the summer before P2 because I couldn't apply for it yet, and took another economics and statistics class online during the summer, so I was able to waive them.
Yeah, so if you waive them, it reduces the number of credits you have to do in the program. You don't have to make them up anywhere. So you could take a maximum of 10 courses in the program, but by waiving those 2, you only have 8 courses to take in the MBA. So it's definitely doable. And, as David mentioned, trying to finish them before you go on your rotation year, that's the goal for most students. Sometimes you can't do it just because you're so busy, but, that's the goal for a lot of students.
Thank you. And if you took, if you go back to the previous one, I want to just mention one thing. Oh, you can't see it here because it's cut off. If you look, if you took PHP 580, that's a graduate course, so all you need is one graduate course to waive out of the economics courses. And I will pass it to Lisa, so you can talk more details.
So
Thank
this
you.
is what a specific schedule may look like. Okay, of course, everybody's schedule is different and you'd meet with Heidi. So the first thing we do is to look at your transcript to see, will you waive out of economics and statistics? That obviously will change what the schedule will look like. But what you'll see is the preference is to start in the summer after your P2 year, because you're not taking any pharmacy classes that summer. You're going to try and load up with MBA courses during the 2 summers that you're here. Those classes, again, are either online or they're at night, because you would be taking courses with our traditional flexible part-time MBA students. Those students are working full-time during the day and they're taking 1 or 2 classes at night. So I think it was Sydney that mentioned, you know, being in a classroom with all different students from different backgrounds is one of the draws. Average age is 30 of a typical part-time MBA student. They're coming from all different backgrounds. So you're really feeding off of their knowledge as well as the professor standing in front of you. So that's kind of how the schedule works. So as you see here, sometimes you can fit in 3 in the summer. Maybe you only can fit in 2, right? Maybe you can't fit in any. That's okay. It's a flexible program, right? We're going to work with your schedule and determine what's the best fit. During the fall and the spring semester, you're so busy with your pharmacy classes, you're really only going to take 1 or 2 a semester. Again, you're going to register for your pharmacy courses first. That's the first priority. Then you're going to let Heidi know, I think I can fit 1, I think I can fit 2. You can take J-term. We have a few MBA classes during J-term as well. So you're really trying to get those in before you go on your rotation year. And I think, David and Sydney, since it's fresh in your mind, can you tell everyone kind of what the sequence was, if you recall, for yourselves?
Yeah, so I started in the summer. I took 4 online classes this summer, 2 in summer, like the first 4 or 5 weeks of summer, and 2 in the second 4 or 5 weeks of summer. I'm taking 1 online this semester, and then I'll probably take 1 or 2 online in the spring, and then in the summer during APPES, I will take the last 1 or 2 classes that I need.
Yeah, and then I loved looking at this, trying to figure out how it would fit into my schedule, and I ended up doing 3 during the first summer, and then I did 2 in the fall because I was able to manage it with P3 fall, and then 1 during J-term, 1 in the spring, and then I say I finished before my rotations, but I had a rotation and then an off block, so I just did that last one in that off block, and it worked out well.
Excellent. And the good news too is that I believe you're able to count one of your MBA classes as a professional elective in the PharmD. So you're able to double count both ways for at least one of them. And that's why sometimes, for instance, I find that in the spring, most students are taking 2 MBA classes because that's when they're double counting into their pharmacy degree. But sometimes it's in the fall, right? And you would work with your advisor here in pharmacy to determine which course, which semester, you know, will work best for your own schedule. Okay. So some other details about the program. We had talked about starting in the summer. Absolutely, that's the first priority, to try and start for the summer after your P2 year. But if you're not ready for summer, you can also apply for fall or spring. Or in Brian's case, for instance, if you graduate and decide 5 years to come back into the program, you can start fall, spring, or summer. So it's very flexible as far as when you can start. We already mentioned the classes are either online. Sometimes they're synchronous, sometimes they're asynchronous. If they're synchronous, meaning that you're meeting in person online, it would be night. Again, everybody else in the program that you'd be taking classes with are working full-time. So these are night classes. And they only meet 1 night a week. So during the fall and spring, you may have a Monday from 6 to 8:45, or a Tuesday night, Wednesday night, or a Thursday night. Okay, so what's good is they don't usually conflict with your pharmacy classes. That's the nice part. What's not as convenient for you is that most of them, if they're in person, is based in Providence. I don't know if anyone's been to the Rhode Island Nursing Education Center in Providence yet, but that's on Eddy Street in Providence. There is a nice garage right next door, so it makes parking easy. And in the summer, it's a little different. Sydney mentioned there's 2 5-week terms, because you probably haven't taken any summer courses here at URI yet. 2 5-week terms. Sometimes if they're in person, they meet twice a week at night. And I think David had told me a story about taking strategy,
Yeah,
one of
so
the
I can-
capstone courses in the MBA.
Yeah, I can talk about that. So it was very, they were trying to be very accessible for pharmacy students because there was a few of us in that class, and the teacher gave us the option that, hey, if you live far away, like you can do them online instead. So for the first couple of classes, I did it online because I was like, I can't drive to Providence. I live 40 minutes away, but I still was like, if the option is there for online, I'll do that. But one of the days I was like, maybe I'll go in person to see what it's like. And I ended up feeling so much better learning everything kind of like from the teacher speaking to me instead of online. So I ended up just going in person for the rest of the semester too. But it was worth the drive, I think.
Yeah, and that professor specifically works with us because that capstone course, strategic management, that's on your list. That course is taken towards the end of your program. So you need all of your other core classes before you can take it. And so usually it fits well in the summer for pharmacy students. So as you know, sometimes you're doing your APPEs in New Jersey, California, wherever you're going. And the professor really is very nice about having people do the option of online if they want, or coming in person if they want. And Brian, you probably did most of your classes in person.
I don't think the technology was still, it's been that long. I did take 2 online, I think. It was very early there, but I really enjoyed the in-person experience. I have colleagues now that go to, a lot of our team goes to another university out of state online, and they don't really, they really, I think, miss as much as they don't want to go maybe, but I do think the experience will be better in person because you have your other students, you've got people with a broad background, I think, like, I don't like to say the older students, but I will, I was 30 when I started as well, but you just got people with different backgrounds, and you kind of miss that when you're sitting at home listening to a lecture. So I know there's a place for both, but I found it helpful.
And Alicia, how about yourself? Did you take the majority of online, in person, mix and match?
Yeah, so I started the program in 2020, so it was COVID. So all of my classes were online. I actually did do an APPE out in California, and I took a class during it. And then I think I took my last one the summer after graduation. So it really is a very flexible program. And I was able to complete the program in December, I think, and then obviously graduated from the pharmacy program in May. So not too much later. And it was right before I started fellowship.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. So as you heard, if you can't finish the MBA at the same time with the PharmD, that's okay. It's not required that you finish both at the same time. If you need to take extra time and come back and finish the last or couple of MBA classes after you graduate the PharmD, that's okay. Right. So it's very flexible as far as meeting when you need to finish the program. Okay. I think you answered the question about balancing the two and how many each semester that you're taking, as well as what it's like to be in the evening program with the other students that are working full time. So Heidi's going to talk a little bit more about the one-year MBA curriculum. Again, this is the option if you don't want to go into the flexible kind of the part-time program doing 1 or 2 classes a semester. We've had students in the past, not as many, decide that they're finishing the PharmD first and then joining the one-year full-time MBA.
Thank you, Lisa. So as I mentioned earlier, the one-year MBA program has a, basically you can finish it in as little as 9 months if you take J-term and summer courses. As Lisa mentioned, there are 2 sessions in the summer. Summer term has 2 sessions, session 1 and session 2. If you take 2 courses or you have the time and the scheduling, your schedule helps that you take 2 courses on the first session. You can take 2 courses in 4 courses in the total of the summer, which is 2 courses in the first session, 2 courses in the second session. And that's what will help you, just go through it in 9 months. Otherwise, it's 11 months. This is the schedule. You need those prerequisite courses that we talked about earlier that you can waive out of if you took the 2 undergrad courses that qualify. You can take 15 credits in the fall. Well, you will be taking 15 credits in the fall because this is a set schedule. You start with a cohort. The reason why it's set is because you start with a cohort from the fall all the way till the end of the program, till the next, fall or summer, May, well, 11 months. So it depends on how many courses you take. You take 15 credits in the fall. The J term, again, is optional if you want to take any courses. J term, you can take only one course. You're not allowed to take two courses. If your schedule allows for more, you can take only one, either way. Spring, you take 15 credits. In the springtime, you have the MBA 525, it's innovation process, which is a consulting project that you do with the whole cohort. And that's a consulting project you'll be doing with a company. So it gives you real hands-on in the real world. The Strategic Management 565 is another course that you can take, but with the electives, as I said earlier, if you take 6, for the electives, you have the freedom to take internships. So if you have 6, if you have a 3-credit internship, which is equal to 120 hours worth of internship, or you can take 6-credit course credits for double that. So 240 hours of internship will give you 6 credits. For the summer, again, you can take electives during the summer. I talked about the 2 sessions, and you can do overload as well. If you can do the overload, you can just add the credits more during the spring or the fall or the summer. The 1-year MBA, as we mentioned, is here. It takes place here on the Kingston campus, and you cannot use 4 of your PharmD courses as electives since you have graduated. So you don't start the 1-year MBA. You cannot start the 1-year MBA until you finish your PharmD. And when you finish your PharmD, any courses that counted towards your PharmD degree cannot be counted again for the 1-year MBA.
And this is just for the 1-year MBA. And the reason why is URI has a funny rule that we can double count credits when you're enrolled in 2 programs at once, right? So plan A, going through the flexible MBA, like up here, we can double count credits up to 12 credits. But once you graduate from URI, you start fresh. So if you went into the 1 year, we can't double count those 12 credits. That's one of the main reasons why people don't usually go into the 1-year MBA, but we want to give you that option because people have in the past.
Talk about the tuition, please, and the cost.
Absolutely. So let's talk about tuition, and the breakdown does depend if you go into the 1-year program or if you go into the flexible program. The 1-year MBA is more of what you're used to. It's that full-time load of tuition plus fees. Okay. So with the 1-year MBA program, you're looking at under $20,000, to complete the whole program. And again, this is tuition. For non-residents, it's more expensive, just like undergraduate in your program right now. It's roughly around $36,000 for the 1-year program. Most of you are going to go into the flexible MBA. Okay. What happens with the flexible MBA is that if you are taking up to 19 credits, even when adding an MBA class during fall and spring, there is no additional cost. Okay. So by the time you apply, you're registering for your pharmacy and adding the MBA. If the number's 19, you're paying the same thing as what you're used to. There will be an added cost if you go over the 19 credits during fall and spring. Okay, so everyone's different, again, depending on what your schedule looks like. Of course, summer and J term is always going to be extra, but the good news is URI discounts tuition during summer and J term. You probably haven't taken courses before summer and J term, so you don't know, but I've listed here and you can see a big difference, right? Of course, we have in-state versus out-of-state, just like you're used to. So if you're in-state, for instance, if you took overload credits over 19, right now the cost is $9.18 per credit. But if you wait and you take summer classes, for instance, this past summer, it was only $3.64 per credit. All of our classes are 3 credits. Okay. And then again, for non-Rhode Island residents, you see the cost difference if you're doing a fall, spring, or doing summer. And I think that's why you'll see so many students also taking summer courses. The cost of one summer course is about the same as 1 credit overload during the fall and spring, right? But again, it really is just what you can fit in. everyone's doing their own thing. And so Heidi's going to work with you to make sure that you're meeting your goals. So again, total cost is going to be dependent upon what you're doing for classes fall, spring, summer, J term. Okay.
Thank you, Lisa. Now, for the admissions to the MBA, the admissions process is very simple. It's very straightforward. You use an online application, which is a URI online application. Years ago, we moved, we used to use Business Cast up until the end of last year, but we moved to the URI application portal. You need a personal statement, and that's basically just your story, why you're trying to get the MBA. Just tell us your story. There's no right or wrong answer. We want to just hear about your, goals and ambitions and what your projection for the future is. You need your college transcripts. Upon the application process, you're going to be asked to provide just the unofficial transcripts. Since you are here for the undergrad already at URI, please do not pay any fees to get your transcripts to us because we have them internally. We can verify them, we can confirm them internally. So just your unofficial transcripts that you print out from eCampus will do. You need 2 letters of recommendation or reference. So 2 references of your choice. It could be either your professors or someone you worked with, before, or any person basically that you would want to be your reference. There is no restrictions to that. As far as the resume, if you do not have any work experience, you don't have to worry about that. You can just include any involvements that you had with any organizations or any volunteering you did. So don't feel, limited or, like you can't, what am I going to put in the resume? And in any case, if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to answer it for you. Rhode Island residency application, that comes after you get admitted to the program. But we mention it right now because that might be a little hurdle, or the graduate school puts a hold on your eCampus account before you'll be able to enroll into courses. So we just give you that little, inside scoop ahead of time that if you are a Rhode Island resident, you will have, or if you claim Rhode Island residency in that application form, you will be asked to provide proof of that. And all it is, it's a 1-page form that you fill out and you take it to your town or city hall, and the town clerk can just stamp it or verify it or certify it, and then you can send it to the graduate school. It doesn't come to us, it goes to the grad school. And the fee as well, there is an application fee. It's $65 application fee. It is paid online. It's not, again, everything happens online. We don't receive anything. We don't get anything at the College of Business or the graduate school. The GMAT or GREs are waived if you have a 3.3 GPA, as you can see, but you can take them anytime before the deadline. But since you are a graduate from URI, those are, if you graduate with a 3.0, that is waived, or 3.3, that's waived. The deadlines for both programs is June 30th. And for the spring flexible MBA is October 31st. And for the summer flexible MBA is March 31st. And that's the preferred option, just so that, the sooner you get the application submitted, you don't have to wait until those dates. By the way, the sooner you put the application and you submit it, the sooner we review it and we'll give you our answer, or we tell you, okay, you need this thing or that thing that's missing. Any questions about admissions? I'll be more than happy to answer. Or any questions for Lisa?
Yeah, so let's start opening up the questions, and I think just for ourselves, but also for the panelists, because I know a lot of people have the same questions. So love to hear from you.
So if you were to apply, is it a guarantee that you're going to get in?
There are no guarantees.
Okay.
So what happens is when we're reviewing applications, it's combinations of things, right? So if you think about the application, there's a quantitative side of it, which is your GPA, you have to take test scores, things like that. And then there's a non-quantitative side. That's your essay. Those are the letters of recommendation. you're going to upload a copy of your resume. We don't require work experience, but most of you have maybe some summer jobs, et cetera. And so all of that is taken into account. I will say, if you have a 3.3 GPA or above, strong letters, et cetera, there is a good chance.
And one thing that I forgot to mention earlier about the admissions process and their requirement, if you are an international student, you will be in the application required to upload your TOEFL or test of English as a foreign language, or Duolingo. Graduate school accepts Duolingo. But since if you've taken an undergrad at the US university, you don't have to, hence you're here, you don't have to provide that. So don't go take in any English proficiency or anything. You just, you say attended US university or attended URI, and that's it. And then just upload that, PDF or Word document. Thank you.
Other
See,
questions?
other questions we can answer.
I knew you'd have one. He comes every year.
All right, so I had a couple questions, but the first question I had is with the electives, given that you're all PharmD as well, what are some that you recommend for someone interested in like health system or just hospital in general? I was gonna say.
These are
For the electives that I searched for, human resource development was one of them.
Oh.
And I think that was very good in preparing you how to deal with like a workforce or like other coworkers, I guess. So human resource development was a good one. And my other one was I did an internship that also counted for credits. So I worked in the Office of Healthcare Workforce Development here at the College of Pharmacy. And if you do an internship based on the amount of hours you work, you can get credits for those as well. So those were the electives that I took.
I also did human resource development. I think it's very interesting to see how different parts of the business that you don't normally see works, different parts of healthcare that you don't normally see work. I haven't taken my second elective yet, so I don't know.
I'm curious to hear your answer on the health system one.
Yeah, looks like everybody likes to go into industry now, but for health system, I commend you for wanting to go into the trenches of practice. But the classes that I found the most interesting, the top two, I would say, were both, and I don't know if they still offer these, but the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It was a seminar class. It was a weekend. And there was another one too, a Franklin Covey course, the 4 Rules of Leadership. Those were great weekend courses. We were able to get a lot of credits done in 2 weekends, but very interactive, very great content. And then my other favorite one was employment law. So there's a required course was business law, which was a lot of contract law and stuff like that. But the employment law I thought was great to learn about, there's a lot of the ways people historically got killed on the job. Like that was interesting. But then there was a lot of stuff about like the newer laws on like labor relations. Like if you work in the healthcare system, you probably have union relations you have to deal with. But also there's like disabilities and different things like that. So lots of great case studies. So those are my 3 favorite for applicable to that.
I think I also took the leadership one. I can't say that I've used it yet in my role, but I am interested in kind of furthering my career into a leadership level position. So excited to see kind of where that leads me.
And I think, was there a part B to your questions too?
Yeah, and I'll say I did the law elective this summer too, and I was able to apply kind of case law from like CVS, which was kind of interesting.
Very cool. So yeah, kind of like diving a little bit into the financial side of things. So I just want to clarify, you said obviously we're undergrads still right now, consider that. So we have up to 19 credits. How does that work exactly? So as long as we stay within 19 credits, even though it's a grad credit, that still counts towards our current tuition?
Correct. So as long as in the fall and spring you stay within 19 credits, you will not be billed extra.
Mhm.
If you go over those 19 credits, you're billed on the graduate level tuition versus the undergrad. So graduate level tuition per credit's a little bit more expensive than undergrad, but they look at the grad course as your overload credits, and that's how they'll charge you. Same thing with summer. You'll be taking MBA grad level courses, so they're going to charge you per credit on the graduate level versus the undergraduate level. And did anybody have credit overloads, or were you able to fit it all in?
Yeah, so I was gonna say when I did This mic's on. I was gonna say that in the P3 fall, I did 2 of my MBA classes and one of them counted as the pharmacy elective. And I ended up only going over 1 credit. So it was only that 1 credit fee of overload for over 19 credits. And I kind of just focused on doing them in the summer and the J term.
Okay, thank you. And then I was also curious, I know, Lisa, we had this conversation maybe 2 years ago, but if you wanted to say transfer, like if you're out of state, and you wanted to transfer something from in-state to URI, what's the max with that?
Yep, so we can transfer courses from another MBA program into our MBA program. There's certain rules and regulations as far as what the course, you have to show us what the course you're taking is, maybe a syllabi from it, because we need to match up to see that it's equivalent to what we offer. And usually we can transfer in up to 2 courses or 6 credits, whether it's a core course or whether it's an MBA elective. And Heidi would work with you to make sure. So you would send her the course description, the link to the website of where you're taking that course. You want to do that before you register for that course. There's also an online form that you have to fill out with the graduate school to get approval before you register for the other course. But then you take the other course, you pay their fees, and then you show your final transcript of that grade, and then they'll transfer that course.
All right, appreciate it. And last question, kind of a 2-parter, so I guess this kind of works for all 4 of you, but I'd say like how far out, like generally speaking, given it is more tuition, do you feel like you like quote unquote break even on your investment, like your return on investment on the program itself?
You're already thinking MBA.
Here, I'll take,
For the hospital system, so,
is that working? No.
I don't know, can you hear me?
Here, take this, Brian.
I would say from my perspective, like the tuition was a little different when I did it. It was probably about half, maybe what it was. This is a while ago, but my first job, I mean, I was staffing, then I went to director. I paid it off within less than a year. So I think it's, probably if you're able to do it, some of these, like I had to retake statistics and the second econ course because I was 6 years out. So you have some advantages to do it now, it sounds like. It definitely to double count electives. And if you go a little bit over on the tuition, I think your payback would be a little bit less. It's a little bit, yeah. But my perspective was very solid return on investment.
I agree. I think it's a great investment, especially doing it now while you're already in school. And if you can get those credits, even with the summer and J-term classes, it is significantly cheaper. I have a lot of colleagues who are interested in doing their MBAs now, much later in their careers. And they are like $200,000 programs. And then if you think about, you have a full-time job already and, maybe you have kids at home, whatever it may be. So I think it's a great investment to do it while you can, especially with a lot of these credits kind of transferring in and counting for both. So I can't say exactly when I would break even, but I feel like I was very lucky to get my fellowship and then land in a role. And then I do think having the MBA now puts me in a really good position to kind of climb up that corporate ladder just a little bit quicker, specifically looking into like management and leadership type roles.
Yeah, and I will say too, even if it doesn't fit right now for you, let's say 5 years after you graduate, you decide you want to come back. A lot of companies have tuition reimbursement policies where they have a set amount of dollars to give you, whether it's $5,000 a year, $10,000 a year. Some companies don't give you anything, but it's one of those things you want to negotiate with your company as you graduate and getting jobs, as far as do they have tuition reimbursement, and make them pay for as much as you can.
Other
Question we can answer for. How about anybody online? If you have any questions, feel free to unmute and ask your question.
Sticking to the topic of like finances, are there additional, say, scholarships that are open to us because we enrolled at the PharmD MBA program?
There are no specific PharmD MBA scholarships, but I'm not sure if you're aware, there's a portal for URI for scholarships that it opens up in April, and you have from April to usually until the end of June to put your information into a scholarship portal. And so what happens is you're coded as an MBA student, so you may qualify for scholarships throughout the MBA. You would be lumped in with everybody else that it meets those qualifications. So you never know, but unfortunately, there isn't one specifically. Maybe in the future with our 87 graduates, something will come up. But right now, there's no specifics. But
Yeah,
great
so
question.
academic works, you probably get the texts and the emails, so make sure you fill that out. And, we do the internal pharmacy ones, and we know who's in the MBA PharmD as well, and you can see their costs, so.
But any parting words from the panelists?
Wait till the spring of P2 year to apply.
Yes. So as far as the application process, you do have to wait until your P2, the spring semester of your P2 year to apply for summer. Okay, so unfortunately, URI, you can't start earlier while you're doing the P2. It has to be done. The earliest is that summer after your P2. So what's going to happen is the spring semester is when you're going to apply for the summer admission. Great question. Great. Any parting words?
There's got to be more questions out there. You guys came to this, did we answer everything?
What was your favorite MBA class?
Uh,
What besides
The ones,
the people dying at the job?
oh, that one, yeah.
Blah.
It had to be one of the Stephen Covey courses. It was just really transformative for me. It just taught me, I walked into that course thinking one way, set a set of thought patterns, walked out after that course completely different. It was just an utter transformational course for me. I can't say enough about it.
I would definitely say my marketing class because I applied that most to my pharmacy degree. So they told us to pick a company and follow it for the whole semester while applying everything we were learning. And I thought it would be a great idea to pick a pharmaceutical company. So I picked Dexcom and then ended up applying all of the stuff that we were learning to that. So it kind of became a lot more useful to make that connection. And then I was just going to say all the teachers basically that I had were the most helpful in helping us understand as pharmacy students compared to the business students that they had. I remember something that stuck with me the most was the accounting teacher was like, I'm not here to make you accountants. I'm here for you to understand accounting. And I think that really stuck with me the most after all the classes.
My favorite was supply chain. I took it synchronously online this summer, and there was a simulation that the professor had us do, and there was certain bottlenecks in like a simulation, and you had to work out the bottlenecks. It took me so long, and it was so frustrating. But by the end of it, I was like, thank God I figured this out, because it would have driven me crazy. But it felt so I was so proud that I was able to figure it out, and it was just such a different way of thinking. It was really cool. And he also made us read a book about supply chain and how this guy's marriage was failing, but because of the supply chain. But it was very interesting and very real world application of supply chain.
I also really enjoyed the marketing and supply chain classes, and I feel like I use them quite a bit in my role now in the pharmaceutical industry. They're super relevant. I really enjoyed the capstone classes too. I think maybe some parting words too, but I really just enjoyed learning from people from different backgrounds at different stages in their careers. And I think that's useful in kind of any field that you go into with your PharmD, because you're always going to be working with others from different backgrounds, and just learning from other people. So that was probably my favorite just takeaway in general.
And how about you, Dr. Orr?
I like the capstone too. I like all these classes, but I thought the strategic management was really good. With everything.
Excellent. So I want to thank everybody for coming today, especially our panelists for taking the time and giving their opinions and feedback as far as looking back to when they were students, and currently students, because I think that's just as important than hearing the details as far as how did they do it, right? That it can be done. It's work, and it's different work than what you're used to. But we find that, the students that apply to this program are really top notch and are just setting themselves apart from their other people that are applying to the same jobs, giving them something different to think about. And again, if you have any questions whatsoever, our information is on the sheets that you have. But here again is our contact information. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have along the way. All right, so thank you again for the panelists for coming, and enjoy the rest of your night.